Tonight, 16 million children will struggle with hunger. We're not talking about some poor country. We're talking about in the United States. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, tonight we have a choice. Do we address the problem and end hunger in the U.S., or do we leave it for someone else? Well, you say, we can leave it for the government. We pay taxes, that's what they're supposed to do. And they do a very good job of providing support in many areas, especially in childhood nutrition and the school lunch program. But there are gaps in that program as well. For example, while 20 million students participate in lunch program during the year, in the summer, only 10% of those children have a program to participate in. So there's 18 million children that have to find another way to get a good lunch. We also may say, well, there's always going to be poor. We'll just have to deal with it and accept it. But if you start to look at the people who it affects, you'll realize they're just like us. For example, there's Mary in Duluth. Worked as a dental hygienist for 40 years. Saved up through her 401k, did everything she was supposed to. But then things took a turn for the worse. She lost savings in her 401k, went through a divorce, had some medical problems that she had to work through. And if it wasn't for the food shelter up there, Second Harvest, she wouldn't know where to get food. Then there's Catherine in St. Paul. Catherine had a good job in book publishing. Nice house, nice car. She lost her job. She figures, no big deal. I'll get another. But time passed. She didn't get a job. She found a few part-time things. She started struggling to make house payments, to find food. Again, there was a food bank to support her and get her through tough times. So you can see that it's just not people in a distance, but it's people just like us. So if we're going to make a difference in the poverty area, there's three things we can do. First, advocate. Second, act. And third, acknowledge. Advocate, look at the health programs that are available. See if you support them. See if your congresspeople, your representatives support them. If you don't agree, write your congressman and advocate for policy changes. One way to do that is if you go through Bread for the World. They actually list what the hunger programs are. If you go to that website, and how each of our representatives voted. Second thing you can do is advocate in the schools. If there's not a lunch program that provides breakfast, try and support that. If there's not a summer program where they can get meals, try and encourage them to look into that. So we can also advocate in that way. Second thing to do is act. There's many opportunities to get involved. As I mentioned, people that were helped by the food banks. There's Second Harvest in the Twin Cities, Second Harvest Heartland. And actually, if you want to get involved in that, September 15th, they have a pack-a-thon where you can go and help pack food. You have to take $25 as donation, but it's a good cause. Second thing you can do is if you go into the grocery store or your church, you'll see a lot of times they're collecting food. So just remember to take a small donation with you when you go, or buy a grocery sack at Cub Foods or wherever you shop. You can help in that way. The third thing to do is to acknowledge the power and the abilities and the talents of the people that are poor, and try and empower them to improve their situation. once you can bring up poverty, eliminate poverty, then they can find their own way to house themselves and food. So anything to support education, jobs, training, try and work towards that. And if we do that, then we will have the opportunity to help the people like Mary and Duluth and Catherine and St. Paul and the millions of others around the country. Along with the 16 million children that I mentioned, there are about 15% of our population struggles with food on a daily basis. If you break that down into numbers, that's 600,000 right here in Minnesota alone are struggling. So I urge you to get involved, take the opportunity. I know many of you are already involved, but if you take a little extra effort, we can